Hello, here we are going to present a video regarding the sighting of the weather station and its installation. So this is called as the mounting pole, which we are going to mount the sensors and the control unit. So these are the nuts and this is the cross arm and these are the tripod holder, right? So there are tri rods connected to the main pole which is extruding towards the sky. So this is anemometer. Firstly you have to put up this on the pole. Once the pole has been mounted and grouted, you have to take it in such way, you have to place it over this, and this is a U-clamp and you have to put up here and you have to bolt it. So remember, when you installing this particular anemometer, this rod must be facing your north, and the utmost part is called as the dimple, which is made of brass. It should be facing towards the north, and you can use a compass to make sure it is facing north. This is tipping bucket through which we will measure the rain, and the rain will be collected through this aerocon. This is specially made along with this bird spikes to avoid the birds to sit over this and make the place dirt. And here comes our temperature, humidity, barometric pressure and PM sensor with the solar radiation, because the sensors must not be exposed directly to the sun. So make sure you are not exposing the sensor or removing in such way and exposing that to the sunlight. Let me tell you how the solar radiation shield must be mounted at the bottom of the rain collector. You have to remove this. You have to adjust the holes. So make sure you are like two people so that the work gets easier. That's important to check out the holes. So there are 3 holes through which you will be screwing the solar radiation at the bottom of the rain collector. So once you mounted it on the pole, you have to check with the level. So you have to adjust according, once the water bubble comes in the center of the circumference which is provided, and tighten using the U-clamp. So there are 4 teeth which will be getting accommodated in this particular aircon base, and you have to cuff hold and mount it over the top. So once you place it, you have to rotate it towards your clockwise. So slide it over the top at the permissible height, so that the solar panel and the control unit won't get disturbed because of the aerocon. It's more important that you have to maintain 3 centimeter gap between the sensors. So place the aerocon sensor exactly opposite to the wind speed or wind direction sensor. So this is the main control unit, which is battery operated. Now I will show you how to mount it on the pole and make sure it comes beneath the sensors. You have to place it such way, and you will be having U-clamps which you have to place it towards the plate, mounting plate, and there are 2 U-clamps you have to use so that it ensures on slipping. Slide and adjust the control unit so that the sensor suit gets accommodated below the control unit. Use 2 washers so that there won't any slipping happening in future. And finally comes our sensor suit, which comprised of socks, knocks, PM and CO2 sensors. So I will tell you how to place it over it. So it comes just beneath the control unit. You have to place it accordingly, adjust the height, and you have to do the same what you did with the control unit. There are 2 U-clamp provisions which is provided. Make sure of using washers so that there won't be any slipping happening in future, and bolt it. So this is 50 watt solar panel which gives a 12 volt output which will run the entire system, and make sure it faces the south and where the intensity of light falls more. Yes, and make sure it should be in an inclination of 45 from the sky. So once the components of the entire weather station has put up on the pole, this is how it looks, and you can just take a look how it is put up, so that it will be comfortable for you to put up the particular parts and components according to the description. Now I'll tell you how to make the connections. So here are the ports: rainfall, barometric pressure, temperature, humidity, wind speed, wind direction, and particulate matter. First goes the rainfall sensor. So you check whether you put up the rain properly. So you have to put this cable through this gland, and you have to put it in the port accordingly. So this is how you have to do the procedure of putting the cable through the gland, and you have to fix it according to the respective ports, and we have mentioned the sensor cables accordingly. Usually the battery comes separately so that it doesn't corrupt the circuit. Okay, you have to use the proper coding, color coding, insert it on the battery. This is the positive pole, and red always indicates positive and the black goes in the negative. You have to place it, and that's all it is. This is RS485 cable which connects the sensor suit to the control unit, and I will show how to connect it. Insert it and screw it. So the other end goes to the main control unit. For a better understanding, we have provided quick reference guide. You can go through, and I'm going to switch on the system, and that's the logo. It's initializing. Okay, now we will get all the readings. If there is any readings missing, so you have to double check with the cables connected to the ports. You can see all the readings on the screen. Kindly take a look over. So now comes our sensor unit. So we have especially using a pump and a rotometer to regulate the airflow. You have to make the double check before you're going to make the sampling. So the sampling happens every 1 hour interval. So now I'll tell you how to double check the rotometer and set and regulate the flow. You have to click next button for 5+ seconds. So the pump has started now. Now you can regulate the airflow using this rotometer. So make sure you always regulate it 0.9 to 1 LPM. So once you set up the regulator, so you have to do the system setup, and I will show you how to do it. So go to menu option. So there are 3 options further: system setup, data backup, and product information. Now I'll further take you to system setup, and there are 3 options further: set clock, network, lock time. Make sure you always do check with the clock to save the data file management. So I'll go further and I will set the clock accordingly. So once I set all the parameters put up in the clock, press enter, and the clock has been resetted. Before setting up the data log option, you have to go to the system setup and check with the log time, the frequency of log time as per your requirement. So we have provided 3 options: 60-minute interval, 30-minute interval, 5-minute interval. And make sure the pump take the sampling on 1 hour interval. Okay, say for example I have selected now 5 minutes and the log time has been selected. Now the next option is data backup. So it's almost important to check with the data backup and set the frequency of the logging intervals. So I'll show you what to do with that. So there are 3 options further in the backup: current month, full backup, select date. Okay, so you have to check with that. You have to select accordingly. Now if you want to transfer the data using telemetry, you have to go to the setup option and go to the network and select the respective required APN and press enter, and the APN has been selected. Now the system has been set up and it is there for the regular use. So there's an enter button. You have to press 5+ second and you have to insert the USB before you click it, and the data will be transferred to the USB logger. Okay, and then comes the final option, which is exit button. If you long press it for 5+ second, it will restart the instrument. And then there comes product information. So it will showcase all the product details. So that's a model and the company name and the support. If you unable to understand the parameters and the icons put up in the screen, you have to take a quick reference, check in the quick reference guide for better understanding. So the sampling happens for 1 month regularly, say. So what you have to do is you have to make sure of replacing the thimble which we've provided extra 25 pieces, and I will show you how to replace the thimble. So now I'm removing the topmost plate of the solar radiation shield, and we have provided the thimble put up in the shaft, thimble and a brass fitting. So this is a thimble. So once it get polluted because of the dust, you just have to replace with the new thimble and insert it respectively, and you have to again mount the topmost plate again so that the water won't make the thimble wet. So this is 2-pin connector which comes from the solar panel, and it will connect to the main control unit and it charges the battery.